everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video where I'm doing one of the Patreon soap designs. Now for this month I did something really different to what I've done in previous months because I wanted to share something with everyone. I recently put a post onto Patreon, and one of the sort of common things I was seeing on it was that people really struggle to come up with original creative ideas, especially when it came to colour combinations when soaping. And I do actually see this a lot when you read through comments on other people's soap making videos asking for the exact colour micas that they've used, simply because people are unable to kind of put colours together and make them work together. And if that is something that you do struggle with, I highly recommend getting one of these, which is a colour wheel, and it has that sort of rainbow spectrum of colours on here in lots of different shades. And then the idea is in the centre here there's a little wheel that turns around, and it helps to pick colours which will actually match up with each other and give you a really good colour combination. So these wheels, I'm sure you can find them on Amazon and eBay. I've had this colour wheel for many years. We're talking well over 12 years I think, and I use it a lot when I am crafting. You can pick them up at most craft stores that deal with things like painting, but if you just Google colour wheels they will come up for you as well. And the idea is on the back of my little wheel it actually names what all of the colour combinations are. So we've got red, violet, blue, all the way around until we come up to orange, and back to red again. And then each of my little sections, so in my red section there are 7 different shades of red within there. And the idea is then you choose a shape in the middle here. You can either go with 2 colours. If we just go simple on 2 colours and go on that red, you can see we've got this arrow up the top and down the bottom, and there's a star in this top one. So that is the colour that we're going to start off with in, say, the red, if that's what we want to use. If we only want to use 2 colours in our soap, it is telling us to use a red and a green. And what we'd do is we'd pick one of these shades. So say for example we're going to go for this shade 1, the palest. We would then go for the palest green down the bottom here as well. And you can either have 2 colours, 3 colours or 4 colours, and when it comes to the 3 and 4 colours it is actually subdivided into 2 different types of colours that you can have as well. You really do need to have one in your hand so you can see how it works. I decided to show you guys how I'm going to use this colour wheel to come up with a colour combination using this one. So what I did is I listed all the colour variations that are on the back here. I then asked my patrons to pick one of those colours, to pick a number between 1 and 7, and then they had to pick another number which was either 2 across, 3 tall, I think it was 3 narrow, 3 short, 4 narrow and 4 short, I think it was, something like that. And then I put everyone's suggestions into the soapy jug, and the one that came from Lee, who runs Bath and Body Bliss, and I've left links to her business in the description box so you can go and check her out. And her suggestion, I'll get it, I've just thrown it on the floor, was to use orange red in shade number 4 using the 3 narrow shape in the middle of my wheel here. So on here, I don't know why I turned that round, I could actually just have moved it to where I needed it to. This section here is my orange red section, and she wanted me to use the number 4 shade, which is the one right down the bottom here, and she wants me to use the 3 narrow, which I actually allocated to this little orange narrow triangle that is in here. So what I do is I line up where the star is at the top of that triangle there to the orange red, and then I had a look at what these 2 colours were at the bottom of the triangle, and I've matched it up to the number 4s on the bottom here. So according to the experts who come up with this sort of colour combination, this orangey red, this vibrant green and this sort of blue down here, those colours should all look really good together when we actually put them into a soap. So let's go and get those colours prepared and then put it into a soap and see what we end up with. Let's go. Alright, so before we actually jump into making the soap, let me walk you through how I've picked the colours. So I started off with my sort of orangey red, and the most orange red I felt that I had on the shelf was this tan jello. But when I actually mixed it up with the oil, I decided it was a little bit too far on the red side, so I added a little bit of orange pop into it here. I've got them all mixed up in a bit of oil, and if I grab my little colour wheel and some of it on my little paddle pop stick, you can see we are fairly close to that colour. Next I jumped onto the blue because it was going to be the next easiest for me, and I initially went for this Klein blue here, and although it was pretty close, I decided to add in a little bit of the dark navy blue, and although it doesn't completely match on my colour wheel, it's a little bit darker. My soaping oils, because of the colour of them, they will actually alter this blue colour a little bit, so I'm pretty sure it's going to come back to what is actually on our colour wheel here. And then I moved on to the green, which has been the hardest one for me to match because I don't have these sort of really bright vibrant greens. I started off with some Caribbean mica, and then I added in a little bit of shamrock, which is a much brighter green, and then I added in some neon green just to really set that colour. I find adding the neons, it really does help with that, and this was the colour that I ended up with, which is pretty close to what we've got on the wheel. So now that I've got all my colours done up, I'm going to go and get my gloves on and we're going to start making the soap. Alright, so we've got the oil and the lye water all ready to go. I'm hoping I am at the right temperature. It's been a bit cool today. It's very wet, miserable and overcast out there, and that really does affect how well the soap actually behaves. I've just poured the lye water into the oils. I'm going to mix it up and then we're going to separate it out for those colours. Alright, so I've only just mixed it until it comes together because I don't want this to move too fast on me. I am using my big jugs because I want to actually separate this out into 3 relatively equal colours, because the whole idea behind this is to show you how you can actually come up with some unique colour combination designs when you use that colour wheel. I'm going to keep the pour actually relatively simple with no fancy embellishments or anything like that. We're just going to separate it out into the 3 colours, and then I'm just going to very simply pour it into the soap mold in alternate layers, and we'll see what we get. Now, I often get asked a lot of questions about these jugs that I am pouring into, usually where did I get them from. I have had these jugs for about 5 or 6 years now, possibly even 7 years, and I got them from a local discount clearance store called Golden Circle. They are the same Golden Circle that make like the pineapple rings and, you know, cordials and stuff like that. They have a warehouse here probably about 20 minutes away from where I am, where they sell all of the excess food and stuff, and I found these bowls in there all those years ago. I have never seen them since, and I don't know where else you can get them other than when I saw them there. So sorry, I can't tell you where you can buy these bowls anymore. Alright, I've got that evenly split out. What I'm going to do is add the colour into each of these bowls. We're going to mix them through and then add in some fragrance. And today I've decided to go with Anjou Pear. It wasn't my original or my first choice for fragrance, but I changed my mind to that one because it's a relatively clear fragrance oil. So that is it there, so it won't actually discolor or play with the colors that I have mixed up here, and it also behaves quite well, and it smells really good too. It's got notes of bergamot, lemon peel, there's some ripe pear, apple, a bit of jasmine, and a little bit of lily of the valley as well. I'm gonna make a mess. I'm just going to dip that cup in there so I can get as much of the color out with that soap. I'm going to get all of these in here, and then I'll come back when I've got the pour. Otherwise this is going to be really boring watching me spit out all of these colours. Alright, so we've got all of our colours now mixed in. It's smelling really good as well. I'm going to get the mould in. As I said, I'm going to keep this really, really simple, and I'm almost going to go for that kind of tiger stripe. I don't want the tiger stripe look. Just pouring in the colours alternately so you get to see how the colours all look against each other. So doing that one, I'll try and keep them in some sort of order. I'll probably forget halfway through the pour. That green's come up really nice. I did have to add some extra blue because, as I said, my soap oils always make blue look a bit funny. It tends to give it a really grey colour for me. So just adding that bit of extra blue mica really brought that blue up. I did also add a little bit more of the Tangelo into this one as well, just to really brighten the sort of orange up. But I can already see the colours are actually forming together quite nicely, and this is staying beautiful, so we should get some really nice movement in here. I'll finish getting these all poured in. We'll do something with the top, and then I will show you the end result of the wet soap. I'm just keeping this very, very simple. I've just got my stainless steel teaspoon and just doing a bit of a decorative top. I'm not going to do anything else. There are no embeds to go on this, no sparkly glitter or anything like that. Just because, as I said, I simply want to show you how you can use that color wheel to come up with some unique designs for your soaps without having to rely on other people telling you exactly what colors to be using. So I'm going to leave it like that, and we'll be back very shortly and we'll cut it open and see what the inside looks like and see if the colors really do complement each other. Alright, it's the next day and I've got the Anjou Pear soap unmolded, and it's already looking really, really good. Now the colours have changed slightly as the soap has saponified, so my orange is probably a little bit more orange than it is orange red, but the other two colours, that green and blue, have also changed with that same sort of tone pattern as well, so they really do match in well together. So I'm really pleased with this combination, and I will be very honest and say this is a colour combination I would never have put together myself without using that color wheel. So it can really give you some interesting color combinations, and they will always work. So we'll get this end piece out the way and grab it there. The end piece has never usually got that interesting a swirl in it, but as we move down, we do start to get those more interesting swirls. And you can see those three colors really do work well together. They haven't muddied at all, so they do all have their own distinct coloring, and it just works. So I do highly recommend getting yourself one of those color wheels because they really do help with picking colors, especially if you do struggle to pick colors that are going to go well together. And once you've got the hang of getting those colors together, that's when you can really start playing around with other things like soap dough and creating the embellishments and things like that. But if you are struggling to pick colors for your soaps and always relying on another creator to tell you exactly which colors they've used, grab a color wheel and just start playing with them. Because the other thing is, being in Australia, I've got access to many other different colors to what you guys do have in the US. So, you know, I can't get colors sometimes that you guys are using. So it's really good to be able to have that color wheel and help you pick the colors that you do actually have. So there it is. I do hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as I showed you how you can use that colour wheel to come up with those original colour designs. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.